Okay. Plus, I do want to finish our conversation from last night about the woke part. That was that was good. So I definitely want to. I want
Well,
you to.
that kinda ties into this whole my whole
Yeah.
pivot on all this.
Yeah. All right. I'm back with one of my guys. One of my day one A1 day ones. My man AM1. Pivot. What? I'm sorry, bro. What's the new channel called? What life or
AM1 lifestyle.
lifestyle? That's right. 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 Okay. Cool. 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 All right. So where do you want to begin first?
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, first of all, land acknowledgments, acknowledgments to you for the big homie. We've been uh cool for years in
Yeah.
these digital streets, and you've always shown me a lot of love. It's always been dope, bro. So I appreciate you having me come through. You already know what it is. Coming from the Sunday Rumble, Black YouTubian, Manospherian days. And, guys got to grow up and guys got to change and evolve and whatnot. And this is what it is. So I appreciate that. And, I just wanted to circle back because, you're my guy and just kind of reminisce on old times, chop it up a little bit.
Yeah. It's always
Talk.
good when to see us from the golden era that we can see how far everybody's progressed and all that good stuff and how the I guess that not the content but the messages have changed or people kind of soften certain stances and embrace other stances and just growth. I love seeing us grow. So yeah, always. All right, so I guess the question I want to ask you off top: what was the breaking point for you to do the pivot? What was the last straw? What was it? Was it a stream show? What was like? You said enough is enough. I'm out.
Wow, man. I don't know. I mean, I can't even say it was one specific thing. It's just kind of like looking at just life in general. Part of it really more so than what I was seeing online. Well, let me say it this way. The whole time I knew most of this Black YouTube, Black Manosphere stuff wasn't, or when I first came in, it wasn't what people claimed it to be. And
Mhm.
I'm down for fuckery shit talking, nigga shit roasting and all that. But then there was the people that were like, oh, the community and we need to do this, that, and the third, and the black man, black woman, all these different arguments, all these different issues. And I know we's a hurting, struggling people. Cool. But when it was, I don't know, the BW this, the BW that, uh, dudes want to cry about their position with the women. And then it's kind of like, all right, fam, well, look, I'm too old for that. I don't have those kind of issues. So
Yeah.
you already know what it was.
Yeah.
Skills and resources, introducing different ideas into the fray. Like, do we want solutions or do we want to just complain? So you already know what it is. You know the backstory, but
Yeah.
for the viewers, little by little, just getting more and more annoyed with that. And as I made changes in my life to make things better, it just was I was just became that much more distanced from all of that in
Mhm.
my real life to the point where it's like I gotta disengage more and more with the online content. And I mean, from a psychological standpoint, it's like I'm not gonna beat myself over the head with this and then arguing with guys that don't wanna even hear solutions, right? Like if you can introduce ideas, skills and resources, get pushback from guys about that late in the game, offering up ideas like, "Hey, you understand relative to the women thing, nobody owes you anything, right?"
Right.
So I was saying that kind of stuff and
Yeah.
getting heat for that from guys my age, 20 years younger and 20 years older. Guys was getting mad doing reaction videos like, "Wait a minute. We gotta shut down AM1 or we gotta send other people in." Uh You know what I mean? Just weird mind games and pushback, trying to corner me into the whole SBE discussion. It's like, look, you guys do want to cry about women all day. Like, you know, take the brand name, whatever you want. It's still crying about women,
Yeah.
claiming that you're trying to empower black men. So what is it? And guys pushing back. It's like, I don't want to throw your bag off. You're making money off selling these dudes their own tears back and their own pain back, monetizing black male pain. But I just can't do it. And I don't want to be anywhere near it.
Okay.
So yeah, I just had to taper back entirely.
It, who are you more disappointed in? The creators that push the stuff or the consumers that consume it?
I'd have to say it's a little bit of both. That's a hard one. The chicken or the egg, man. I mean, technically, it's the creators, right?
Okay.
Because they're the one offering it up. But then again, it's supply and demand. So that's a hard one. That's a hard one.
But would it be safe to say that they're creating the demand with the rhetoric? Because the average guy, when he comes online, what do we always hear him say? I didn't know this existed. I didn't know people felt this way. I never heard these terms used in this. You know.
Well, barbershop talk has existed. Issues with women has existed. Guys talking about that since high school, since school bus, back to school bus, whatever. So the issues are there. Just another medium and platform to talk about it. I get that. So not quite, but to exacerbate it and to make it a thing, and then is black folks for the most part. So giving it that flavor, giving it a certain amount of appeal to the point of guys come on and with decked out setups with suits and whatnot. No shade to that. But then let me step up my studio. Let me invest. Let me get clean mics. Let me have my production value like laced up so we can talk about the B dub. Like, fam, come on, fam. Come on, man. So I guess all in all, as you just asked me that, I had to kind of lean it more towards the creators
Okay.
because if the creators all said, I'm not going to supply that demand, not every guy is just going to have the impetus and motivation to put himself out there. Most of these guys are incels, the way I see it.
I agree.
So most aren't going to take that initiative. So when it becomes a matter of the creator saying, "Oh, I got a little bit of nuts to put on, and I can do this. Got experiences." They can opt to do the monetized paying thing or not. So if enough of these guys said we're not going to do that, then it would have to kind of go away. You know what I mean? Like it would offset, it would negate some of the demand by not giving the supply. So I would have to lean some of the onus more in favor of the creators. Now that
Um.
I'm saying that on the fly based on what you just asked me.
Right. So was there ever a time where you were just really just astonished at the amount of pushback you were getting? Did it make you question you or your mindset at a certain point? Like maybe I am wrong. Maybe this is the new way of handling things.
No,
Okay.
no, because I try to move with a certain level of objectivity. And we'll get into that too. The
Yeah.
era of subjectivity versus objectivity, my feelings. I try to like if I'm gonna stand on a position, it's like, fam, this isn't about me. This is like how a man, if we're gonna label what a man is, this is how men move in life. This is objectively how you move to better yourself. You have to be a man with or without before or after a woman. So to cry about it over and over, you're just gonna take L's. If you're worried about the image of black men and how black women can hijack that and run with that or whatever, I would argue that there's bigger forces that are, social engineering. I'm big on that. I'm a video guy, I'm a media guy. Why chop off branches? Why not go for the trunk? Why not go for the stem? So no, my stance on it, I stand on that as being objectively true, not a matter of just my opinion. We can't cry about what's going on with the women and not address the overall issue of, yeah, social engineering, sure. But bottom line, when you really into the weeds with it, nobody owes you anything. And your daddy that you never met probably didn't tell you that, of course, because you never met him. Your big homie, your big brother, whoever, because we're in the era of babies who have babies who
Yeah.
had babies. I've been over all this stuff.
Okay. Do you think there's a push for a new man? Because if we look at the history of manhood, basically it's just been all about self-sacrifice, all on the sword to make sure the women and children are okay. You sign up for a shortened lifespan. You sign up for little to no praise, little to no appreciation. You're just a work mule. And is it fair to say that these new guys don't want to no longer be the work mule?
Well, that's a two-pronged thing, right? Because I do think in the era of convenience, everything laid at your feet, Amazon Prime, deliver straight to your door, deliver fast food to your door. I have neighbors who have McDonald's delivered to their door, or to our front door. I'm like, really? It's laziness, is apathy for sure, but a lot of these guys, I understand their plight. They're like, I was taught to believe that there's a woman for me and white picket fence and 2.5 kids and a dog, and that's right off into the sunset. And it was like, first of all, that was never necessarily built for you, black man, or maybe any man. Maybe that was, something that the banksters set up to get the women back in the workforce and,
Mhm.
like set that all up or, collapse that down. Maybe that was never meant for you anyway. Maybe that was meant for whole other demographics. But the bottom line is a campaign has been waged against black folks, not to be on the pity victimhood tip, but psychological warfare, social engineering has upended that for sure. Man, I was born in the late 70s. I witnessed and experienced the whole dope era. I've watched families get torn apart by drugs and all this. And then, we can talk about this forever, but the downstream effects of hip hop and its tie into all that music and all that. So no, there was no guarantee of that. Most of these dudes now, though, would love to be in a situation where they can have their perfect boo, sit on a couch, and ultimately just be mediocre and be basic. A lot of dudes would love to be able to bear the brunt of that manhood, classic manhood concept. A lot of guys would love that. Most
Mhm.
of these guys can't have that because things are so off the rails because of the social engineering, the pseudo empowerment of women. So I get where a lot of these guys are coming from, but the bottom line is nobody owed you anything anyway. So once you take it back to that point, it kind of game overs the whole situation. Now you can cry about it, you can pout about it, you can go online and get in these pity party handhold circles about it and talk about the B dub over and over, but nothing changes the fact that fam, you gotta go get healthy. You better go get in the gym. You better get your paper game up because nobody owes you anything.
Is this the natural cycle of life just being shown on social media? And what I'm asking is, we've always heard of guys having trouble with women, getting to women, having access to women. It has YouTube just shown us what we already knew. And these voices of frustration are the ones that are not being chosen to a certain extent. Is it just that's just the nature of the beast? Obviously, universe feels you shouldn't have your bloodline extended because this woman don't want you for whatever reason. What do you say to that?
I mean, I see where you're going with that. Am I breaking up?
No, no, you're good. Okay, wait. You just froze up. Oh, you just
It's
froze
kind of
up. Damn it,
don't do me
Ecam.
like that.
All right, you're back.
My
I'm sorry. Go
signal
ahead.
my signal was acting janky. Yeah, I mean, there's the whole like natural selection, survival of the fittest kind of game relative to, men in competitive advantage. The manliest man should move forward. So I actually get that. And yes, it has been a situation to where the alpha type guy, the top 20, top 10% of guys are going to be most sought after by women to a certain degree. But I think in the past, more traditional times, more rougher times, whatever, that wasn't quite as apparent because of the distribution and ability for women to even approach the apex kind of 20% guys. I think now that the playing field has been leveled from an economic standpoint, and then we get social media, ease of information, for better or for worse, those conveniences that make it to where a woman can go make 100K a year just as easily as a dude, whatever, right? That leveled the playing field, and then obviously social engineering like feminism and within a black community, girl, you don't need a man and dope era and all those things really did exacerbate a situation that was natural, but it's unnatural or unnaturally assisted. And I think that is a part of a social engineering uh, concept to control, or, we can get into that too. Depopulate, control. Just kidding.
All right, I wanna save the woke part for later. I want to talk about not only your content pivot, but your nutritional fitness pivot to a certain extent. And because when you said you were plant based for 10 years, I sat here, I was like, how? And I'm asking because for for 10 years you didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, what was the breaking point? What did you finally say? You know what? Let me try this meat thing. Well, what kept you on plant based for so long? And I know you were like, this is not working. Something's not working. Something's off.
Okay. So here's the thing. Like, and I'll talk about this jokingly slash happily. 45 years old. Grew up eating just whatever soul food. My, mom's side of family, my family from Louisiana, we grew up eating all the good stuff. But then, grew up in the 80s. Uh, Mom was getting us McDonald's, all the fast food, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Get to the point of being out on my own. I'm active, I'm moving, I'm eating shitty food. Diet is horrible. And then growing up into my 20s, going to getting regular ass jobs, less active, more job stress, whatever. I got to a point where I worked for Comcast, it's a cable company, Xfinity, and I was eating McDonald's every morning, fast food, McGriddles, and oily ass. Like God, if I knew then what I know now. So right now, I fluctuate between 195, 200, somewhere in there, just depending on my water intake, literally, because I measure it so hardcore. At my heaviest, I was 265, but I'm 6'2" though, so,
So you carried it well.
I carried it well, so I just look like a big dude. But to put it in consideration of damn a 65, 70 pound swing and understanding what that is like relative to body weight, like nah, fam. And I was actually unhealthy, back issues, joint issues, all kind of inflammation, aches, and all that. And just people buy into that and just you're just getting older. You're just getting older. That's what it is. That's just how it is. It's of course you gain weight as you get older. Buying into that. So I had a job where I'm, working out in the field, Comcast technician. I got a job where I left the field and was like, okay, let me go get back in the gym because I'd always been active in working out, influenced by my uncle, by my older brother. And I was like, all right, there ain't no way I should be this heavy. Cut back the soda, cut back the fast food, got way healthier, started getting into way more information about, diet, eating better, fasting, all of this good stuff. Really, and this is like 2008, 2009 ish. Started dropping a whole bunch of weight, way healthier in the gym, did the lifestyle changes, right? Um, but and then at a certain point, I was working out so much, my energy level was amazing. I'm
Okay.
shedding weight, I'm feeling good. And I was like, well, wait a minute, what happens if I use a strategy where I eat as efficiently as possible, aka as less as possible, and see about the output that I can get from my workouts.
Mhm.
So I would do that. I would get in the gym, interval sprints, way hardcore, my workouts, and I was shredding. And I was doing that, cutting back meat and everything. So I'm trying this plant-based thing of, oh, well, I say it joking, I just sound like this. I, I can get the same amount of protein from the plant sources that I
As you
can
put it
get
from the
from the
animal.
animals.
Yes.
Why eat the animal when I can just eat it from the ground?
or the well, the cows, they eat grass and look at them, or gorillas, they're vegans, look at them. It's just like, that's not,
Hey, and I gotta hold that L, fam. Because look, the pivot from that is within the past like 6 months to a year. So I'm still holding that L heavily. Like the weight of that L is still on me, or I gotta laugh at myself. But I can be honest about that and be objective about that towards like, yeah, no, I gotta hold that L.
so
Yeah.
what was the moment you said, okay, I'm gonna try this?
So here's the thing. Like, this is in my early 30s, mid 30s. I'm working out, right? I'm good. My energy level's up, but and this is pivoting from me working regular day jobs to me building my career out, doing visual media work. I'm working for myself. I'm freelancing. It's ups and downs with that, stresses with that, fall offs, comebacks, staying in the gym, off and on. But getting older, then kind of like, all right, fam, I'm approaching 40. Okay, now I'm in my 40s. I'm working out, but I'm kind of getting into this skinny fat kind of mode. Like
Okay.
I'm basically around the same weight. I'm kind of in the 200, 210. I could easily fluctuate if I, fuck off a week or two, go out, kick it, whatever. My kicking it tapered off. I just throw events and all that. So I'm throwing drinks back at a certain point in my year, at a certain point during my life for a few years. Liver was probably all kind of damaged, had to heal that. But I'm just walking through the timeline. The skinny fat situation to where it's like, I don't know, the workouts ain't hitting like they used to. Something's off here. Something's not right. Something's not right. Insomnia, not right. I gotta make some changes. I gotta make some changes. And then the COVID thing, right?
Okay.
Where they shut down and said you can't go in the gym and they don't want you to go outside at all. I was like, nah, I'm still going outside. I'm not doing the lockdown thing didn't apply to me.
Right.
Still was outside, couldn't go to the gym, was highly upset about that. I was like, okay, cool. Bowflex adjustable weights at the house, bench at the house, whatever I can do at the house, pull up bar at the house. I'm out walking, I'm hitting trails. So I maxed out my fitness game to another level because I was like, oh, they're telling people they're sick. Then what I'm gonna do is not get sick. Already understood how fasting and like detoxing your body worked. Let me amp up the workouts, take it to another level. So even with that, because you remember before I was kind of pivoting my content a couple of years back, and
Yeah.
I was like, wait,
Yeah.
I'm on this fasting tip, but I was still rocking this plant-based thing. And I think even with that, kind of made it clear, like, wait a minute, you can't do the fasting thing and be sort of nutrient deficient trying to play this I can get it all from plants game. But I
Mhm.
didn't know it at that time. Um, Fast forwarded now with the whole COVID narrative, man, the research that I did into that in the last 4 years, I've learned more about human biology, crazy things like virology and cell structure, makeup, and cell culture, blah, blah, blah. Listening to lectures from doctors, like really like saying, okay, if this is what they're going to do, let me learn more about that. Let me learn more about myself, self empowering. Um, Let me learn more about the whole diet food situation because I really looked more into the whole virology, what really makes you ill. I literally have a book that's called What Really Makes You Ill. It learned so much and was like, oh, they've been playing this on that whole narrative. They've been playing this on the food narrative. We knew that, but it's way worse than I thought. So fast forward to just within the last 6, 7 months, I'm seeing these videos popping up where it's like, yeah, people are doing this carnivore diet thing and they're like reversing all kind of illness. Uh Guys are boosting their testosterone in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, watching these stories. And I was, still on this plant-based vibe, like, man, I can't even imagine eating that much meat. That just seems crazy to me. Because mind you, most of my adult life, I was not cooking hella meat like that. In fact, I was avoiding it for the most part. I
Okay.
still had, you know, fish in there a little bit. At one point, less and less eggs for a stretch, no eggs even. Like I was so low on like baseline nutrients. And
Wow.
then at the same time, hearing reports like, men's testosterone dropping off a cliff. I still felt strong. I still felt good, but I was like, wait a minute, let me head this off. And then just understanding how shady they are with the medical pharmaceutical industry, putting that all together. Bill Gates and the WEF folks are like, let's come for the meat. Here, eat this fake meat. Putting that all together, I was like, maybe there's something to this whole meat situation, the pasture raised. Then you start looking at like ancestral diet type concepts where it's like, fam. Then I even talked to my mom and my grandma. I'm like really soaking up the game. Like, well, wait a minute. Just making beef stews and being able to get the collagen out of it and understanding like, oh, they're really taking the building blocks from the animal that's already a living thing, is nutrient dense, and you just extract that and use those acids to build your own cells. And
Exactly.
it's
Right.
already processed for you because let's just use cows. Cows already ate the grass, they already fermented it, they already processed it, and then they're walking around with it on them. And just that shift in my mentality was like, well, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm a freelancer. I'm about efficiency. My time is super duper valuable, maybe more valuable than back when I had to go clock in and being commuting and whatnot,
Mhm.
right? Where a check was coming every 2 weeks. I need to be on point. I need to be sharp. I need to be agile. I need to be efficient. So if I can eat a steak and get the same nutrient density as eating these bowls of kale and all this other cool stuff, let me try that. And man, I
Wait, I
tried it.
remember like about a year ago, you were like, "Man, I'm eating the kale and the quinoa," and I was like, "Man, that's a lot of like leafy greens," which it makes sense. I remember, I remember that shit like it was yesterday.
That just goes to show you, bro, because I'm a media guy, right? So it's like journalism. So it's like, let me look at all the sides of it. And I didn't quite understand it. But again, like I said, the COVID thing made me look into things I hadn't looked into. So I went into the whole, okay, they're saying this V word, is spreading, whatnot. Let me look into that, realize that was way crazy. I highly advise you to go look into that whole narrative, the whole history of that, Béchamp, Pasteur, all that. Like, can't even get fully into that. They'll shut your channel down talking about that. They don't want people to know about the whole contagion concept and all that, what that's really all about. Finding out how shady that was, I was like, let me look back into the food thing. Obesity rates going up, testosterone levels dropping off. Don't eat meat, don't eat meat. Push more veganism, push more vegetarianism, more glyphosate in the food, the Roundup. Monsanto gets to just do whatever they want to run rampant, even though there's lawsuits and cases. Uh, Fluoride in the water, people, all kind of lawsuits behind the scene, industrial pollutants, toxins, all of this stuff happening. But we wonder why obesity rates are going up. I don't know. but we want to, but here, eat some fake meat. You see where I'm going with all this, right? Put it all together. I was like, let me make some changes and try some different things here. And sure as shit, bro, yeah,
Let me ask you, how long did it take for you to actually see difference when you switched your diet?
man, don't even play with me. I would say first month to 2 months. Because here's the thing, for me, it was an easy transition because I was already doing like intermittent fasting for the last that along with the whole, like I told you before, I was about efficiency, feeling good, the idea of I'm busy, I'm active. I don't want to sit there and stuff my face all day, every day. I don't want the itis. I don't want the food coma. I don't want all that. So I was eating, which is probably shot me in the foot even more. I was like nutrient deficient. Like I realized that for over a decade
Right.
running this plant based situation. But I was already intermittent fasting every day anyway. I was basically eating 2 meals a day. So it was nothing. And then when I experimented more with longer fasts, it was like, okay, I could actually not eat for 4 days, feel real good, reset, come back, right? So when I decided to try, let me experiment with this carnivore kind of situation and see how my body reacts. I was able to kind of like ease in and out of that, understanding the whole ketosis thing. Like for years, I never tripped off what that meant.
Yeah.
When I understood what that meant, I was like, wait. These people are holding like what could be almost the holy grail to weight loss. Like, oh, if your body can't tap into the fat stores, you can't lose weight.
Right.
That's ketosis. It's like, how does everybody not notice? Oh, duh, because obesity rates are going up here. Take this Ozempic and take whatever other drugs. Oh, so pharma. Oh, medical industry. Oh, somebody's profiting from people getting fat and sick. Oh, of course, duh. That's why no one knows this. It all makes sense, fam. It's like, oh, just like they did in 2020. Oh, there's something out here to be afraid of. Oh, guess what? We're gonna Operation Warp Speed something for you. Yeah,
Well,
it all makes sense.
are you upset by it took you this long to learn? Because I ask is, if you'd have learned this 10 years ago, would you have appreciated the knowledge and would you have done the due diligence back then?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I attribute it to I just felt good. I attribute it also to, again, when we're rewinding back to my fat boy days, losing that weight, doing certain things, falling for as I'm losing weight, I'm feeling good. I was like, well, what happens if I really narrow it down, thinking I'm getting nutrient density out of kale and chard and blah, blah, blah. If I had come across more information, I don't know how available it was. Plus, I'm here in the Bay. It's easier to that energy of halfway hippie-ish kind of uh maybe that's part of why black folks got issues because we was eating so much red meat and blah blah blah. I fell into that. I got that's what I said. I got to hold the L. To your point, I'm not really mad. I can't kick myself. I don't have a time machine, but bro, the way my body is, genetics, whatever, how I'm reacting to it. If I had adopted this strategy, let's just say 10 years ago, I would be on a whole other level because I'm already self motivated to be in a gym for sure.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, the level of just ferociousness, testosterone boost, all that, like all the stuff I see happening with guys as they get older, I'm already not there. I already wasn't there. Like friends I grew up with, niggas is fat and sloppy. Let's just keep it a buck. And they look at me like, man, you stay agile. And they try to jokingly say, oh, it's because you ain't got no kids. And I'm like, yeah,
Well, let's talk about the motivation part of it because I don't think the average person understands. It's almost to an obsession. At least for me, it is. Like going to the gym for me is like blinking, breathing. Like I will have a shitty day if I don't do something in the gym. If I don't work out, I don't think the average person really understands how truly self motivated you have to be. Can you speak to that?
I mean, bro, it's hard for me to speak to it because for me, it's like, yeah, if somebody said, "Hey, fam, why do you breathe so much?" I would be like, "What are you talking about?" Like for me, it's like I get it, right? It's insidious. You can fall off, and then it's like, go get back in this gym. But I don't know, fam. I'm more like it's hard for me to not work out,
Right.
and I think we're saying the same thing.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
harder for me to not work out. The benefits I get from it, it's like you're trash if you're not working out. And now we'll understand what I know on the diet side. It's like, oh wow, I was actually doing pretty good eating shitty malnourished. So now that I'm fixing that and healing that, like literally fixing damage I've done to my body from shitty food on top of being malnourished, I'm like, fam, the gym is just like rest day. People are like, well, you got to rest and recover. I'm like, damn, rest day? Damn, that's whack. It's like I get it, but damn, rest day?
Do I really need how much rest? What do you mean by rest?
If I work the workout splits a certain way, then yeah, okay, I can. Well, can I just work my forearms while everything else heals?
Right. Yeah. I remember like I'd be injured and the doctor's like, no gym. And I'd be like, well, I can work this side of my body because that's not injured. So, yeah, I don't
Yes.
think the average person truly. Okay. Can one, outside of health issues, if someone's 400 pounds, they got to lose the weight, the doctor says, you got to lose the weight. That's one motivation. But can the average 30 to 40-year-old that's never really been in the gym, can they just tap in and find a motivation, the self motivation to do it? Because we see success stories, but they're not the norm. I don't think the normal person, the average person, can do it. Honestly, if you haven't grown up in the gym, you never played sports in high school or college, it's just not in you. That's my opinion. But what do you say to that?
There's something to that because, like I said, or maybe I didn't say it, but I was writing because I'm working on an ebook, bro. Matter of fact, let me say this real quick,
Yeah.
and don't let me forget that question. But I'll announce it here. Something I've been wanting to do for a while, right? You know, I do videography, uh, visual media consulting, all that. But been a gym rat, fitness nerd this whole time. I at 45 just entered into a program to become a certified personal trainer and
Nice.
certified nutrition coach. So I literally just fired that off. So I'm back in school. Your boy's back in school.
Nice.
Um, just to take it to another level, online coaching, whole new business direction, a whole new year, new me, blah blah blah. But just to be that much more of a Swiss Army knife with, okay, let's do the creative work. And Eric always talks about that, be a value. So it's like, yeah, more value. And to the point you just asked, I'm really having to deal with that, right? Because I'm basically starting a whole new business aside from doing videos. Like been doing that for almost 10 years,
Mhm.
making videos for people. Been doing it for longer than that, but professionally videos, motion graphics, all kind of different clients. Now it's let's steer that to fitness under my own banner. And here's my strategies. Here's my approach to it from a holistic standpoint, tying into the visual media element, the psychological element, which
Mhm.
I don't hear a lot of fitness people talking about or a lot of diet people talking about.
Mhm.
Like at least those three angles. So that's my angle, AM1 lifestyle style to approach it that way. And part of that is troubleshooting what throws off people's motivation. The average man in his 30s didn't have the influence at a young age, doesn't understand the benefits of that, never felt the ferociousness of that, the ferocity. How do you get somebody on board with that? And I start with the ideas like it's a hard game, right?
Mhm.
Because I got to think outside of myself. Right? I gotta think like a consumer. I gotta think like a normie. Uh, I gotta think like a mediocre motherfucker out here, it's hard to do that.
That's sad.
Imma
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm the best at whatever, but I know I'm above average ferocity. Like, man, fuck that. We gotta get out here and get it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around at other guys like, don't you see what's going on? Like, fam, it's a transactional world. Time is running out, not in. And there's a beautiful world out here. You better go experience that. Don't get 45 and be 200, 300 pounds and out of shape on all kind of drugs, erectile dysfunction and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Get out here and travel and get your money, get your independence, get your freedom, whatever, or be there for your family. If you go on that route, be the head of your family. So where's your motivation? In defense of yourself as a man, in defense of your family. Back to the thing of the guys crying about the women. It's like, well, why should that woman want you if you're not out here ferocious, getting it, making it happen? And if you are, that energy is gonna radiate off you. They're gonna be falling all over you. You're gonna have
Right.
to fight them off you.
Right.
So motivation wise, man, I'm still trying to crack the code on that because if people coming for your rights and trying to force something on your face or trying to force inject you with something, I don't see how that wasn't fire under every man's ass, every human's ass, but let alone men as the defenders, the protectors, providers. But I mean, just as simple as, man, set a goal. I don't know, some push-ups, and then how good you feel is the ultimate dope. Maybe people are blowing too much trees, drinking too much, all the other self medication. But man, I come out the gym feeling high, feeling relaxed, feeling strong, feeling like ferocious and calm all at the same time, ready to get busy and take on the world. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's the ultimate motivation. Like, fam, is breathing. That's like, let me hold my breath for 5 minutes and see how I feel. What?
Let me okay. Let me piggyback off that. So a lot of our urban leaders not in the best shape. Killer Mike's, and then I look at the DJ Envy situation with Cesar Pena, and I'm like, just off the rip, just off the looks, I would never take a fat person serious. If you're not self-discipline is the first rule of, if you're not self-disciplined what you put in your mouth, how can I take anything you say out of that serious? What are your thoughts on that? When you see people that, when I'm in the gym, every year, every new year, influx of people. And we can sit and pick out and say, you know what, they're not going to last past a month, 2 weeks into it. You know what I'm saying? Because when they realize how hard it is, they kind of fall off by the wayside. But I'm a judgy person to a certain extent. Are you a judgy person because you're into the health and fitness at the level that you're at? Is it hard for you not to look at somebody that's obese and be like, look at you, you know?
No, absolutely. And especially since I went through my fat boy days, my fat boy phase, right? So it's kind of like been there, done that. So I kind of get it. And I guess to a certain degree, and I hate the phrase meet people where they're at, or, I'm in the Bay, right? So it's Wokeville. Um, what is it? You gotta, you gotta, what do they say? One, I hate you gotta meet people where they are or where they're
Right.
at.
Yeah.
But then there's be gentle. Oh, there it is. It's the one. Give grace. You gotta give people grace. And it's
Okay.
like, I hate that. Never say that to a man. You gotta give grace. Or a man saying that to other men, or we need a safe space or all this. Don't get me started.
Mm.
I hate hearing this shit. It's like my ears bleed. I'm like, no, get ferocious. Life's hard. Wear a helmet, whatever. Get a helmet. That's how it was. Like, man, I grew up around OGs that was like, yeah, it's grimy out here, it's hard. I grew up with uncles from the projects in Louisiana and fuckery in North Oakland and Deep East Oakland. And like, man, I've seen grimy shit. I'm like, yes, life's hard. Like, don't cry. Give people grace. I can give people grace to the degree that I understand psychological warfare, social engineering, marketing. People were in marketed poison, the financial situation, people stressed out, so people want to self-medicate, people want to go get the easy food, and that's going to make you fat, and it's going to make you fatter, it's going to poison you, it's going to throw you off, you're inflamed, you're not literally not thinking right. So it's literally like food induced mental illness being exacerbated every day, every time you put something else in your mouth, on top of social media, everybody scrolling and feeding themselves more fuckery, right? So the content consumption, the food consumption, I get what we're up against, so I give grace to that degree. But at the same time, there's the other half of me that's like, man, that's all the more reason why you gotta fucking figure it out and man the fuck up, or woman the fuck up. Especially if you got children, especially, you know what I mean? Like
Okay.
every possible motivation is there in front of you. But at the same time, I get it. Ugh. I get what we're up against.
Do you lose hope when you sit back and think about that the different hydras, the heads of hydras we would have to tackle as a people, or just as us against them per se, the poors versus the one percenters or whatever the case may be. You ever be like, you know what, it's too much. It, it's a futile fight.
And here's the thing. You ask that question, and this is gonna be wild. I don't know what's wrong with me. Low key, R word, retarded. Uh, but I'm an optimist to a degree where it's almost annoying. And I've made changes. I've held so many L's, fucked off money, wasn't raised with no money, taught how to make money, just get a good job. I had to figure so much shit out myself. I understand what we're dealing with. If you want to call it elites playing games with us, blah, blah, blah. I realize how much they set us up for failure, all the heads of the Hydra, but we can still easily defeat all of this stuff in less than a year. That's the trick. I know enough about what's going on to understand how we can defeat it because most of this stuff is like Faustian bargain style offers being made, and most of it is just opt out of it. So, what gives me hope more so, not only do I not lose hope, it's almost laughable because I do have like a dark sense of humor to a degree where it's like, hey, this is hella shady. But you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, cool. Let me go to the gym. Uh, the Rothschilds, the elites, they want to blah blah blah. War in Ukraine, war in Israel. Okay, cool. Let me go to the gym. Let me make sure I eat right.
Okay.
They're pressing this white man foot on my neck. Okay, cool. Let me go to the gym. Uh, and then if I'm blessed or gifted, whatever, with any kind of artistic ability, communication skills, I made a career for myself out of the mud and achieved more freedom than most people I've ever grown up with or known relative to I just make my own schedule. That
Mm.
alone is more than most people I know here in the Bay Area, one of the grimiest places to live, like money wise, right? I did that. So I have to be able to be like, yeah, I have hope because it can be done. You can beat the game. And a lot of it is just opt out of it. Opt out of the fun stuff. Be willing to sacrifice. Opt out of kicking it with stupid people that's going to drag you down. You're a reflection of people around you. Look at what you put in your eyes, your ears, your mouth. Be honest about that. Be accountable for it. And we can all extrapolate that out to 7, 8 billion, however many people they claim are here. Uh, and just opt out of the foolishness. And these people have no power. So we can easily beat this stuff in a year or less if everybody just opts out of it. So where I'm at with it is let me inspire people to beat the game, make some changes, at least hit some of the moves I've hit, and let me run up a bag doing it in the meantime.
Let me ask you this: out of all your years on this platform, and you faced a lot of criticism. Matter of fact, you came in out the gate being highly critical or being perceived highly critical when you said no kids over what was it, the one the one title O'Shea had, and instantly triggering, and I was like, this guy must be a glutton for punishment because out the gate you came in the
I
fire.
said this. I
Are
said
there?
this because here's the shit talker part of me. Not to cut you off, but I know
No,
where you're going with this. And I said it like that to be provocative. I said, if we're complaining black people oppressed, and mind you, this is at the height of like everything is being gentrified here in Oakland, and they
yeah,
sold Big Mama's house, and all the hipsters are taking over, and
yeah.
barbecue Becky, and blah blah blah. Right. So I was like, okay, if it's that bad, first of all, black folks, from an accountability standpoint, are we doing everything we can to fix it? Right. And if we know there's historical this, that, and the third, and a lot of that's true, if we stop having willy-nilly ass babies for the next 5 years and focus on grinding and healing from an economic resource standpoint, and let's not look at it as skin color supremacy, let's look at it as resource supremacy. If we do that and understand that if you are broke, dusty, raggedy, talking about just black love, and you procreate and create dusty, raggedy, broke children, you just set yourself back more because it takes resources. And then people want to get mad and say, "Oh, well, only rich people should have kids." I'm like, you should have the resources. Let's not
Oh,
play these games.
I'm glad you said that because another content creator had said that, but this was years after you said it. So broke people should not have be able to have kids.
I'll put it to you this way. Is it a loving act if someone who is at a lack of resources themselves procreates and makes another mini version of them or more? Because you're just creating more lack.
Okay,
It's math, is it not?
yes, but this is where I disagree. The act of having children, my opinion, is a selfish act because you're here to propagate yourself, to extend your life, whatever the case, your lineage, whatever the case may be. Not so much love per se. Yeah, I like or I love the woman I'm with, but at the end of the day, I have this this genetic disposition to keep making replicas of myself to make sure I'm a little reminder to people that I was here.
I heard genetic replicas. Okay. Damn, it's breaking up.
You good now?
Okay. Genetic disposition to make replicas of myself.
Yes. Oh, it's okay, y'all. Little technical difficulties. It's okay. It's
Hating,
okay.
hating on the stream. They hating on the stream.
So let me reiterate. And I asked you, should broke people have kids? And I'm like, I don't think. I think it's a little bit more than broke. I think it's a lot of it is genetic survival, and it doesn't matter what your financial circumstances are. There's a primary, almost reptilian, mindset when like, look, I got to procreate. So that's my take. That's how I look at it. Like, it's to me, it's a selfish act. Not saying it's good or bad, but it's like, look, I need to leave a piece of myself as much as I can, if possible, around this place. Juxtapose that with your position that broke people shouldn't have kids.
Here's what I'm saying. So let's swap. Let's be gentle and give grace. People with lacking resources in an objective way should consider changing their position before procreating as to not create more lack.
Okay.
In other words, if you broke, don't go make a little version of you. Because
Okay.
here's the thing: if you want to talk collective oppression, if you want to say the white devil, if you want to say oppressive system, oppressor, 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 if you want to say the elites are holding us back, they want to wipe us out, they want to do this, that, and the third. I'm going to think like them and say, hey, I'm going to weaponize everything against you, including your own biological urges. So if I can pin you into a situation where you have less access to resources and do that generationally,
Mhm.
hit you with psychological warfare, financial terrorism, put you in such a beat down position of lack and make it to where you want to self medicate with a very hormonal and energetic thing like sex to the point where you might have oops babies, procreate, or just fall back to an animal instinct of I just want to procreate to continue my genetic lineage, regardless of how that impacts myself or my offspring on a resource level, then yes, if I were them, I would weaponize that against said uh useless eaters too. Yeah.
Oh, I'm with you. I remember reading something somewhere where a lot of your birth rate spikes happen during times of depression. So we had a bunch of babies made during the pandemic, the Great Depression, war. I just when I hear people say yes, in theory, broke people shouldn't have kids, but that's when the most kids are conceivably made is during times of stress and struggle. Because at the end of the day, sex is probably one of the few respites that one has away from the calamities of everything. What's your take on that?
Right, because when you break it down, it's obviously there's endorphin releases, all kind of oxytocin releases, just from a drug standpoint. So it's literally dope to have sex and get that nut off.
Oh,
Of lack, people are going to want to self-medicate, and if that's one of the ways, like I've heard black love. I've seen black love of various types in my whole life. I've seen dusty ass, broke ass, crackhead, meth head couples love each other, uh, fire up a bowl, and then go in the back room and have sex, and then have kids later that year. And it's like, cool, but the elites are oppressing us. The white man is holding us down. Okay, if I guess, I, I guess, okay, cool. Let's do more. But can we really complain about people, you know what I mean? Weaponize your own urges, weaponize love against everything. If they're that evil, if they're the devil, so if they're the devil, you would say white man, elitist, whatever, right? I'm lumping that all together. If they're the devil and they're so evil, do you understand who you're playing with, right? Or how evil are they? My evil is big, right? So I'm just thinking like they would think and think, yeah, I would totally set you up to do that to yourself because you just made your life exponentially harder. And you made, I could get so dark with this. Like, I'm okay with looking into the darkness of this world.
yeah.
And it makes me appreciate the light. And it makes me say, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm not going to go do that. And as I am living in this world, I'm gonna do the best I can to put myself in a position of health and wellness to where I can be some kind of beacon of make the world a better place, be the change I want to see. As
Mhm.
corny as that sounds. Other than that, what? I'm about to just be mad at the knowledge of I was born into a situation with predatory, elitist, psychopath kind of people that are predating on other people. They elite bloodlines, whatever. However you want to look at all that. I'm not trying to play their game. I'm trying to get free. And I want to do it in style and as healthy as I can, travel the world, see everything I can see, and let me tap other people on the shoulder and be like, fam, we don't have to play that game as much as I can.
Okay, so let's play into what you just said as far as creating environments, um, suitable for children, kids, and whatever. So, had you been born in the suburbs and two parents, house, dog, cat, I wouldn't have the AM1 that I have now. More than likely, we probably would never have met. But because you were born in whatever circumstances and the environment that you grew up in with the people around you that shaped and molded you is why we're here today to a certain extent. I'm saying is, even though they may have weaponized the environments that's not conducive to most, but when I get a gem like you, were you worth it?
I mean, it's hard to even address that without sounding like it's like, self appreciating. But I'll say this the way I think about things, I think, and I think it's objectively true. The way I think, the way I move is pretty rare to the point of kind of what you're saying.
Okay.
My upbringing is way all over the place. I got to grow up with nigga shit, hood shit. I got to grow up with suburb, diversity, all that from the
Okay.
80s into the 90s. Uh, some of the most ratchet shit you could think of, some of the most suburban, whitewash hearts and flowers and rainbows and shit, all that. And then fast forward in my, adult life, early adult life, rugged ass nigga shit, street shit, running around with gangsters and killers to then interacting with, famous musicians and whatnot that I grew up listening to. And then later on, fast forward to doing video projects with sitting at the table with billionaires. Like I've seen all of that and it's rare. So that's what makes me me, right? Taken from all of those things. And I
Okay.
don't think most people have that variation in experience. So I don't know if that fits, you know what I'm saying? Like where you're going kind of with that analogy. It's so rarefied. Most people don't get that, I don't think.
Right. But what I'm asking is, out of 100 situations just like yours, the one that is you, it was worth it to lose the other 99. Yes.
Well, I guess I'm kind of reverse engineering it like this. Should we roll the dice with a bunch of potential fuckery and oops scenarios just to get one good one? I say no.
Okay.
I would not have bet on me turning out like this and it's saying it's worth a bunch of other who knows killers and whatnot that grew up was born in the late 70s and came up out of North Oakland. Like, nah, probably not. I wouldn't have.
That I mean, that's interesting because we're not missing the 99. We have you.
Yeah, okay, but the way I look at it is this: if we're gonna play a numbers game, more people who ain't about shit are being born and living. That's the useless eaters. That's the sheeple class. And the sheeple class is dangerous because they're being weaponized by the people who get it. I'm not saying it's pretty. I don't like it. I'm just being honest about it. And from a numbers game, we can't be having oops babies. We can't have people doing things and doing high level spiritual, let's bring other life forms into this world on some willy nilly bodily urge kind of vibes.
Mhm.
More so than what I'm saying is sure, do that, procreate, but do it with the foundation of having actual resources to project out into the future. Why should your genetic lineage move on just because you can bust a nut? Stop it. Like,
But
where's
that
your value? Like, add value, then procreate, and then teach that offspring how to add value. That's how you make a better world that doesn't get predated by psychopaths,
I agree.
right?
I agree. But I think the
It's too
soul.
dark. It's getting too dark.
No, no, you're good. No, I love where this is going. I agree with you. But if you let's be honest, the average man, and if there's a woman that says, you know what, I wanna have your kid, he's gonna go. If she's half decent, she treats him nice. He's not gonna necessarily look like, you know what, I don't know. I just met you. Because if that were the case, a lot of people should not be existing right now. A lot.
There are people who use phrases like useless eaters. And there are people who you can say, well, you know that there's people out here setting you up for failure, selling you poison. And there's people who's just like, it is what it is.
True, true, true. True, true,
That's
true.
dangerous. So if you're a conscious and you're aware of exactly what that is, and you're like, oh, that could be weaponized against my freedom. At a certain point, you got to make a decision of there is this such thing as useless eaters, people who are mentally like disabled and like mentally ill based on food, based on things they're consuming, based on social engineering, the fact that their parents didn't raise them right. The era of babies who had babies who had babies who had
Right.
babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing like she looks nice, so smash, but she wants to have your baby. It's like, fam, stop it.
I don't think it takes much, to be honest with you, to get a kid out of a guy.
Wait, what did Ty City say?
Oh, he said he added plant nutrients to aid with meat nutrients. I started keto, and without carbs, my workouts weren't as intense.
I would say give it time and see, because you want that fat adaptation. Like, bro, you get adapted to your body burning the fat
They're
and
gonna
get
want you
that
to get
chemical
going.
changeover.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I dropped my carbs off a cliff and really went more because I realized, oh, bro, we can get into the nerd shit. Essential fatty acids, essential amino acids in the form of protein. Your body breaks that down and understands how to break that down. The metabolic flexibility where it's not expecting exogenous glucose from carbohydrates, and your body says, "Oh, so you're not giving me this external stuff, so I got to deal with the basics that I need."
Right.
And it's going to go figure it out, and it's going to go dig deep. So this way, you get the boost in growth hormone, you get the boost in testosterone because your body says, "Oh, we gotta actually go work now." That's it. Yeah.
I want to pivot back to your upbringing. You know, well, no, let me do this. Eric July, because we had a conversation last night, and you were very very resolute in your stance and your defense of him. Um, I say it's time to let the woke thing go. I think it's become such a distraction to us, and it's got people unfocused or missing what's important or the bigger picture, whatever case you want to be. I think it's time to focus on something else, because they always give us something to worry about. Every decade, every 5 to 7 years, we get a whole new thing to worry about, and I feel this is just another thing to worry about. It's always been there, called by a different name, and they give it a new name, kind of give it life, and we kind of feed into it. Um, what do you say? Because you were like, no, shouldn't walk away from it. It's get into that. That's your wheelhouse.
I'm a video guy, and by extension of that, let me go nerd out on Edward Bernazian propagandist, social engineering tactics, fast forward, social media, fast forward, COVID narrative, fast forward, the push for transformers, uh, fast forward to D Queen story time, piggybacked off of civil rights era. Let's insert dope era in the middle of that. We so oppressed. Let's take hip hop, conscious, self destruction, fight the power, niggas with attitudes. Fast forward, Big Willie. Fast forward, trap, trap, trap. Tie all that together. We's so oppressed. BLM, shot in the street. Black Lives Matter. Black Trans Lives Matter. This amalgamation of let's lump together all these oppressed groups. Everybody's oppressed. Then it's oppression Olympics. Then it's uh what's the word? When you tie them all together, uh, I'm someone's gay, they're black, and they're a woman,
Oh,
intersectionality.
intersectionality. Yes, yes, yes.
Mind you, I'm sorry, fam. I'm in the Bay, a front row seat behind enemy lines. I watch the deterioration of, black folks, we got to stick together. Our numbers are decreasing. Uh, Gentrification, they're pushing us out to the suburbs, and they're buying a big mama house, and we're getting shot in the street. We so oppressed. We've been oppressed. We've been oppressed. We've been oppressed. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa! Don't you see what's going on here? The idea of conscious hip hop, but then that's not cool, and it's whatever, right? But when you take all this stuff, it's bigger than hip hop, social engineering. I don't have children. I'm sitting back and watching this. I'm like, people, fathers, mothers, don't you see where this goes 5 years from now, 10 years from now? They're taking legitimate historical things, oppressive things, and they're morphing it into how you take somebody's subjective belief about gender concepts, different ideologies, and morph them into things where you blur the line between relations with adults versus children in introducing these things in real slippery slopes. No, like, this is something where you draw the line, you figure that out. You don't let them come for that kind of mind game. You don't let them feed you poison food. You don't let them feed you poison concepts in your eyes and your ears, social media, in these, bam, bam, bam. They want to censor you if you say the wrong thing that doesn't fit their agenda because you hurt someone's feelings because of how they choose to subjectively identify. Nah, fam. We're going to use Big Daddy government to pass laws if you don't address me with how I identify. No, fam. Stop it. Everybody has to say no to that, especially parents. I'm not a parent. I can't, like I said yesterday, I can't imagine what it must be like, but I can imagine for sure if the kind of shit was popping off and I was a parent, I would have probably been locked up so many years ago because I would have been jumping up and down at these schools.
Right.
The COVID thing alone, totally unacceptable. No, fam. You're not playing these games with me. You're not, no. Sorry. So yeah, if Eric July is built his brand based on the pushback of that with some of these
That's where I'm getting.
legacy properties.
That's my next
I
question.
was just saying this
Yes.
up. If he set up his brand to fire it off on that and ran up millions, I'm laughing right there along with him, like, haha, goofies, parallel economy. We don't want this. Not everybody wants this. Not everybody's capitulating and playing this game, but we gotta, oh, you feel sad because someone didn't call you whatever gender pronoun you just made up. Stop it. If you don't get out of my face with that, life is hard. Shut up. I understand you're poisoned with the antidepressants, with the shitty food, the low T, the endocrine disruptors, and something's going on. Atrazine in the water. They're turning the frogs gay. I understand. I understand. But you're not going to make me bend and capitulate to whatever. And I'm not going to let Big Daddy government use you as a tool to say I have to be silenced and I can't speak freely. You want to come for the 1A, you want to come for the 2A, you want to come for any kind of freedom concept. You want to dismantle the Constitution for whatever that's worth. But you see where I'm going.
Right.
I say we make a stand. And yes, if we can use media counter properties to cripple that and to expose that, like what Sean Strickland just did, went up in Canada and somebody tried to expose him on that peep game on that UFC shit.
Yeah.
Him and Dana White roasted them fools over that. They're like, we're not putting leashes on people. We're not censoring people. Free speech.
But
So
let me
yeah,
add.
I, I,
Okay, but
I
to
love
that,
what Eric's doing.
right? But to would Strickland be that emboldened had Dana White not been behind him saying something as well, like having his back?
My understanding on the timeline was that earlier the press conference this week, Strickland just was doing his thing and went balls out and said and flashed on that reporter. Dana is the one who came back after the fact and was like, "Yeah, we're not putting leashes on these guys."
Okay,
That was in a press conference after the fight.
fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So those that consume the product that is funded by the backlash of the wokeness, should that be black folk? Should black folk be consumers, or they should just buy the product on GP to help fund the product that is giving the backlash to what is going on?
My stance is I say yes, right? Because one, I actually care about them wokeifying Star Wars because I grew up with that. And that's part
Same.
of what inspired me as a creator and literally my lifestyle and livelihood now.
Okay.
I'm inspired by Marvel and all that. I grew up drawing and all that. That's why I do the visual media now. So it's heartbreaking to see what they're doing with that, and it's infuriating because I see, oh, this is social engineering. Now I'm 45. I don't have any children. They're coming for the next few generations. I see where that is.
Mhm.
So for the people that care, weirdly enough, I care seemingly more than a lot of other people who have children and grandchildren. But I get it. I'm looking at it like this. Yeah, support anything that's pushing back against that, even if you don't even care about the properties.
That's my next question.
Yeah,
I'm a Star Wars fan too, but that's not my fight. That's their fight. This is where I
I
disagree with
disagree.
you. But go
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, I want you to talk about that though.
Well, I say it's a collective fight because I don't put any kind of like race delineation on it. If anything, it's canary in the coal mine. Or when white people catch a cold, black people catch a flu is worse, right? Because if we're already behind on some kind of economic resource ability, controlling our own narrative through media, if we let these people run rampant with this stuff, it's going to damage our people far more. If you're at a disadvantage in resource and ability to, you know, commandeer your own message, which we've already seen, we don't want to let these people gain more ground. So no, we push back. That is our fight. Stop it.
Okay. And this is where I disagree with you as well. You said the racial delineation. Get it. I remember growing up, we only had one black person in space. That was Lando Calrissian. And then I remember, was it The Force Awakens, that first of the new trilogies that came out? And John Boyega was reviewed as a black stormtrooper, and them white folks lost their shit. And I was like, you know what? Y'all got it. Y'all got it.
Okay. Okay. So you're talking about the producers of it versus the demographics of the characters, the diversity of the characters versus how the people react. Now I understand there's racist people in this world. I get that. I'm just looking at it from what I think is a broader perspective. If the producers of the content are using this as a mass social engineering tool protracted out over time, let's not major in the minors and let's look at the long-term impacts of this stuff
Mhm.
over time versus, oh, they're triggered because they put one black man in there. I'm like, wait a minute. What they're doing is going to cause way more havoc than worrying about that little issue. I don't know. That's my perspective. Maybe it changes, but the way I see it over time, if they're going to say, let's take the whole concept of masculinity and skew it along with all these other projects, never mind the race thing, they're trying to come for and blur lines between male and female. That's across all racial groups or whatever.
I
I
agree.
would say that the white people jumping up and down on race stuff are majoring in the minors too. If they get black people jumping up and down about race stuff, get caught slipping on low hanging fruit issues. Meanwhile, they're like, they don't even see 20 years from now, everybody's going to be androgynous. Dummies.
Right. My thing is, I just think black should be a little bit more indifferent when it comes to certain agendas being pushed. Once again, until, and as a parent, I feel for all other parents that have to deal with the whole library, book time with the weirdos, and shout out to all those. That's cool. Now, if it happens to my school, then I'll do what I have to do. But for the most part, it's not my problem.
And I would say, again, this is me putting on my evil genius thinking cap. If you get 330 million people all saying what you just said, then they're like, yes,
You're
we
right.
want you to think like that.
You're right. I'm
Yes.
not gonna jump out the window for every event that affects the majority first, or because we didn't get the same courtesy when things were designed, engineered specifically for us. We were left on our own. So why should I
See,
extend
that's where
that
you're going back
courtesy?
to.
It's the whole once the
That's
poor
back to
whites.
the delineation.
But here's the thing: once the poor whites figure out they don't like them either, now we're supposed to lock arms. Like, oh well, now you see the light, brother. Now you see it's not just race, brother. Let's lock arms and go against them. Nah, y'all hold that L. Because y'all thought they lied to y'all for generations, told you guys were above us, you were special. Now you got your wake up call. You got your nigga wake up call. And you want me to, yeah, brother, when we all bleed the same color, brother. No. Not today, bruh.
I feel you on that, but again, I'm trying to play what I'm thinking is checkers, not chess. I get that. But the whole bottom line is this: if we're looking at everything of if they prop these people up to make them seem like they're better, and if by some extension of that they acquired more resources and we have less, if they finally expose the fact that there's people above all of us that are manipulating the whole game, when they collapse it all, we're going to be way more fucked. So I say, yes, if anything, let's maybe not lock arms per se. I see where you're going with that, but at least nudge other black folks to be like, you see what's going on here. And I'm saying this again, this is through my lens of being right here in the Bay
Right.
with black folks that are still like, huh, race, gun violence, Wakanda forever, and just really on this hyper blackety black thing. But then, and it's like fight the power, of white man gentrification and Karens. But then it's like, you understand Bill Gates and Trump and Biden and all these people are colluding to like force you to take certain like chemical injections. And they're like, huh? That's crazy. Don't talk about that. I'm like, okay, so you guys are goofy. Like I'm trying to shake people up and say, you see, they're trying to socially engineer your children. They're trying to make you eat fake meat. They're trying to distort the whole perception of reality and force you to be under some kind of totalitarian communist style regime situation. None of that other low hanging fruit is going to matter if these people have their way. I say let's all lock arms and figure that out as quickly as possible.
And this is where we differ because I'm to the point where I'll let you sleep. I will not disturb your rest. Now, if you come to me with questions about, hey, what is this? And I'll give you breadcrumbs. And if I think you're ready to go down the rabbit hole, have at it. But for the most part, my energy is reserved. I refuse to wake people up. It's dangerous when you do that because then they get mad at you.
Okay. So here's the thing. And I agree with that. And I'm remembering us talking about this before, the idea of the activism, so to speak,
Yeah.
right? And here's the thing. You're absolutely right. And believe me, I've had this discussion with people like in a real way, with people that I've known and done work with and done business with right here in the town. Here's the thing though. We've seen the perfect example of where other people's apathy and ignorance can be weaponized against our freedom. Because I'm not sure where you were at around the time, but scenarios where you can't go in this place unless you cover your face. Later, you can't go in this place unless you show your papers, please, that you took some experimental chemical rushed injection.
Mhm.
All objectively true. Meanwhile, they racist. And I'm like, fam, okay, look, I get it. If I come talk to you, try to wake you up, you might lash out. You want to just focus on this thing. Maybe it's some bigger fear on a deeper level. I don't know. But what I know for sure is people's ignorance for sure has been weaponized to a degree where I can't move around and freely go do certain things.
Mhm.
That part I'm not cool with. So to say I'm gonna just leave that alone, that puts me in a predicament like, damn, well, at what point do I say I ain't gonna worry about that? I ain't gonna worry about that. And it encroaches on me more and more and more. And then again, I'll run that filter, multiply that by 330 million people, and these people have their way. So there has to be theoretically some level of pushback, or I just acquiesce to the situation and then where am I at? Because I can't make myself not be awake to the idea of other men in suits in buildings with pillars uh passing laws that say I have to do this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm not cool with that. So where do we I'm not living out the rest of my days with more encroaching big government, blah, blah, blah. So we gotta try to nudge people, no?
I, I agree in that theory. Application, not so much. I'll say this because I remember going to there's places when man when I'll just turn around or I'll just acquiesce, put the mask on, irritated as fuck, whatever. I know how I feel when I talk to people that say, well, I was at home during the pandemic. I'm like, well, I worked. So what do you know what I'm saying? Like when I meet people at a conversation, when I find out that they sat at home, whether it be no fault of their own or not, I'm like, well, I worked. I don't know what it's like to sit down for 2 years. I don't know. So then I find myself starting to judge people, dog, and that's something that I have to work on. But I look at, like I said, through no fault of your own. But if you one of these people that say, and you want to sit here and tell me you sat down during the pandemic while I was out here working, Nah, we really don't have much to talk about. Honestly, honestly.
Well, I think to a certain degree, obviously, there's a people whose jobs just closed and they just had no choice. And again, this is through my lens here in the Bay, but there's millions of people surrounding this area for sure. In some instances, I saw it. They were like, "Oh, well, this big tech company is straight up closed, so it is what it is."
Yeah.
So and then a lot of people are like, "Actually, I kind of liked it because I didn't have to commute." That's where I was like, as soon as you say you liked it for any reason, then I'm instantly judging you. Um, because I'm like, grand scheme of things, it's some other men, corrupt people trying to collapse down your rights. But here's the thing though. You raised a very interesting point and it made me think about this. From all that I've learned with we so oppressed and we's a hurt people to the B dub, blah, 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 and push back from dudes that are like, well, fam, nobody owes you anything, or get your skills and resource game up. And it's like, no, AM1, you're a hater. All of that. The woke stuff, the woke push, the we don't care. We don't want to talk about vaccines. We just want to talk about George Floyd. All of these things, right? I pile that all together and the level of apathy and ignorance. And then I say, all right, well, look, if I do want to, I don't know, nudge people in a better direction to see this stuff and how they will go after you or come for you or lash out if you address it to the point you made,
Mhm.
then it made me think, if I care to endeavor this, how would I create something that entices people to come ask me about me? So what I'm saying is this: if I'm saying, "Hey, guys, we need to be more masculine. We need to be defenders. We need to be producers, with or without a woman."
Mhm.
How do you create a situation where that's the move and I have had to use words like role model, right? But at least where I'm not like kicking down somebody's door and be like, "Hey, you need to be like this." How do you entice somebody and move in such a way where somebody says, "Damn, I see how you moving, fam. How do you do that? Why are you like that? Why don't I ever see you stressing? Why are you how are you able to hop on planes? How did you make your career doing that?" So my thought process was, "Oh, well, let me go to something that's pretty ubiquitous, the health thing, the health and fitness lane."
Mhm.
Because my whole life, people have said, "Oh man, you look younger than your age." Or my whole adult life, you look younger than your age after I start getting healthier. Your energy is cool. I see you out doing creative stuff. You in the scene, you doing stuff, you active, you making stuff happen. What do you do? How do you move like that? People have asked me that
Yeah.
in a legitimate way, to where it made me think, whoa, what if I can say, well, yeah, I'm 45, I'm in good shape. I'm not in the best shape of just, there's people out here way more crazy, ripped and athletic than me, but I'm probably in a very small percentage as far, especially if you want to talk black folks out here, guys in their mid 40s. So then it's like, well, for anybody who would say that, here's what I'm doing. In other words, can I broadcast something and create a brand and put it out there in such a way where somebody comes to me? And then I say, hey, here's how I move the way I move. You
Yeah.
see where I'm going with that?
They
Like
have to be.
flip it into a model, a brand that would attract people to it. So then it's like, all right, well, let me lace you. Because you
Yeah.
asked. This isn't me kicking down your door with it.
But that person, they have to be ready to come to you. And when the teacher shows up, Pai Mei will be like, training
Right.
now. So
So
you're
let me
right.
just
You
add this.
just
Let me add this one part.
yeah.
In going into that mentality even more, I'm like, all right, well, let me get even deeper with it. And the more I'm brainstorming on it, oh, let me go get certified as a personal trainer. Let me go get certified as a nutrition coach. I'm already nerding out on this stuff anyway. Let me go put a few letters behind my name and justify it even more, make it more official. Um, then let's go low hanging fruit. Let's go simple urges like, oh, you want to lose that beer belly? You want to lose that gut? You want to look sexy for this beat up that you really want, but you're really mad at? You see what I'm saying? Like, let me take all of the things I've analyzed and seen and
Yeah.
flip it into something to create a model whereby I can attract people to what I'm doing, right? And use those weaknesses in a interesting judo throw of sorts. Go ahead, bro. My bad.
No, that's perfectly said. Like there's there's no reward. You know, the whole what is it, school days, Fishburne at the end. Wake up, wait. No, stop, stop. They're gonna hate you for it, and I'm not built to be hated like that. I'm cool. You know, if you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them for you. And once again, I've always said I'm not here to change anybody's position, opinion, or religion. You know, if you ask me, I'll tell you, or I'll give you my thoughts, and what you take from it is that. And if you come back for more, cool. So, but no, I think you're the perfect vehicle with the fitness to kind of just hit them with so many different angles when they're ready. You know, just walk them, baby step them. Next thing you know, they've lost 50 pounds, and they're like, oh my god, I feel so much better, and you know, yeah. So
The way I look at it, oh, go ahead.
no, I was going to ask, is yours NASCAM certification, or is the other national
The
fitness?
one
There's
I'm
like
doing is
two.
National Academy of Sports Medicine,
There you go.
NASN,
Okay.
NASN. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, so just entered into that. So yeah, basically just building a whole new again business model around that, running that up. Been already dabbling with the health fitness stuff for years, and I was like, let me make it more official, and then let me put a whole business sort of model around it, and let me monetize the fact that I already am a nerd and sit and read books and articles and podcasts from these doctors looking at metabolism and blah 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 and all this crazy chemical stuff and the chemical process by which your liver turns fat into ketones and how that feeds your brain and it lowers inflammation and this, that, and the third. And it's like, all right, let me take all that and condense it down to somebody and say, hey, look, if you do this, eat low carb, you'll lose weight and you'll feel better, right? Because everybody ain't got time for all that. Cool, right? From an entrepreneurial spirit, let me solve a problem. Let me, help you out with a little bit of your time.
Hmm.
So the way I see it, if we got to play this transactional money game, pay to live, cool. Let me live doing something creative that's inspirational. Monetize the fact that I'm already in a gym nerding out on this shit anyway. And then while at the same time be doing actual service for the world and being of value in a positive way.
Let me ask you this. Maybe it's too early to tell, but clientele. Would you rather work with somebody that's already somewhat in shape, just trying to get little tweaks and adjustments here and there, or would you rather someone that's clearly morbidly obese and you be the catalyst and the one that you know? Which clientele would you prefer to work with?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say this early in the game, but even as I'm sort of developing like a developmental coaching group now, like it's kind of organically already happened. A
Okay.
homie of mine that I met actually on a gig some years ago. Been running into him in the gym over years, was talking to him about fasting, all this different stuff, and just was hitting him with different gyms over time. But then he was like, yeah, man, I've been, listen to what you're saying. I got into, fasting longer, my intermittent fasting. And then finally he started going into the more extended fast. Like we're going to like 36 hours to where you
Mm-hmm.
fast actually overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So me and him started teaming up and doing that. And I'd hit him and be like, all right, what's up? We going into these 36-hour fasts. We're going to go. So we've been running those up, sort of like tag teaming on those, coaching them on those, and keeping the motivation going while hitting the gym. So then he's hitting me like, "Yeah, man, I dropped 10 pounds in a week." Oh, and I left out the detail that he's like 6'2", or he's like 6'1", 6'1", but he's like 320 something pounds. So he's on the heavier side.
Okay.
So I'm already working with a guy who's like way like above his ideal body weight. And we're already seeing benefits. He texted me the other day talking about how he got on an airplane and for the first time in a long time, he didn't have to have the extension strap thing. So I'm
Wow.
already working with this
That's
in an
dope.
organic way.
That's dope.
Aside from that, I got other people. My mom, I've been coaching her on this stuff, like showing
Okay.
her just all kind of gyms. She just had her 70th birthday. She was like, "Yeah, I went to this what was it, Lion King show. My cousin took her to that in San Francisco." She was like, "I got into my dress that I wore on my 60th birthday, on my 70th birthday, and went to
Nice.
the show." I'm like,
Okay.
"Okay, cool." So it's like rewarding in a sense. And my mom's not super overweight, but she's been able to taper down and stay healthy with all the stresses of she's like caregiver for my grandmother, staying healthy, getting her laced in the game on fasting, sending
Good.
her
Good.
like,
Awesome.
um, electrolyte powders and just different tips I'm absorbing, sending her books and literature stuff to read. Fasting and whatnot for women, a little bit different than men. So as my sort of developmental coaching group is building, I'm having all kind of variations in people's self motivation, where they're at. To answer your question, long winded. But I don't know. I'll. It's gratifying and it's educational all the way around, right? And I understand that there's going to be challenges because essentially what I want to do is build a mass online coaching group that operates like a think tank and
Mhm.
basically says, let me answer as many questions for you guys as possible and aggregate it in such a way. Because from a business model standpoint, I understand you don't have the time in the day. You got other more important stuff to do, like worry about who just won the playoffs, NFL or whatever, right? Or you got to go pick up your kids. I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Cool. So come to me, and when I launch something with a little price tag on it, help me help you distill this information down. And I'm gonna show you the kind of stuff I'm doing. And if I can build trust with you, then let's rock out. Let's do business.
Dope.
Pretty simple. Yeah.
That's dope. Okay, my final topic for you. Um, is the red pill dead?
I mean, in my opinion, it's been dead, man. And to the point of this whole thing where I'm like, offer value, offer value. I mean, the red pill concept was already bastardized, obviously coming from the whole Matrix analogy. Take the red pill or take the red pill, find out how the world really works. It
Hmm.
just devolved into the world only works worrying about what women are doing. People running up business models to the tune of 1.5 million subs, kind of red pillish, Rolla Tomasi to the tune of white chick runs up 1.5 million, black content creators supporting her, hoping that they can maybe, I don't know, sniff her feet and get a live stream with her or whatever. Just the total like de-evolution of the whole thing and just it being not only laughable, but like shameful. Like, really? This is where the red pill black red pill, white manosphere, black manosphere, it devolves into it's all about women. And I'm over here saying weird stuff like nobody owes you anything, fam. You got to be a man. And there's other like major level threats out there that are way more important than a woman that you don't have to opt into.
But does it show you how important a woman is to a man?
Yeah. The idea, like I said, the idea that in a hyper depressed, low level, low brow energy frequency, human beings can be devolved to base animal instinct, uh, procreation, extend my genetic lineage, regardless of how much value I add.
Yeah.
And I think, and for some reason, I think I should have good outcomes in life.
Okay.
And I'm going to complain about it ad nauseum online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a question for you from the chat. Conspiracy University asks, any tips for fasting and taking medication? If I don't eat, bro, the medicine I take will mess my stomach up.
Yeah, I mean, to that, I would automatically my first thought is, well, what is the medicine you're taking and why are
Right.
you taking the medicine? Let's go address that part first. And most likely, the medicine probably is directly relative to something you were eating over time that created some kind of like metabolic imbalance. So the idea wouldn't be to fast per se and take the medicine. It would be to look at what you're putting in your body along with that medicine and try to reverse engineer that before you even get into the whole fasting thing.
So address the reason why you're taking the meds, the health issue that prompted you taking the meds, and then work it from there.
And then it just that for sure. But I would say, as maybe a transition to it, the idea of intermittent fasting, right? Or like time restricted windows. There's a couple of different approaches. So basically, if you eat 3 meals a day, cut it down to 2 meals a day, or even have 3 meals a day, but within an 8 hour period. I just say go with 2 meals a day. So you're giving your body that much time to heal. And then, of
Right.
course,
Stretch it out in between meals. That way. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I would do the 2 meals and just stretch it out throughout the day or over a day and a half or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then the whole thing would be you can still take your medicine when you eat, right? Because you don't want to throw that off. Because you would want to wean yourself off the medicine. Of course, this is not medical advice. You would want to wean yourself off the medicine anyway, because without a doubt, it's known and they tell you most of these things have side effects anyway. And over time, it's going to only make you worse. So you better backtrack that as soon as possible. But yeah, eat less food within a smaller time window, and then obviously just wean yourself off of eating things that are obviously like poisons, like preservatives. And then I would even go as far as to say consider lowering carbohydrates like breads for sure. And then maybe even do elimination diets, get to the basics, high fat, high protein, see how that treats you. If you're taking some kind of medicine, some kind of metabolic issue anyway, it's probably going to heal itself.
That's my man AM1. Bruh, spam your channel in the chat if you haven't been already. Yeah, let the people know where they can find you. Basically, so because I know some people are like, "What? How come AM1 doesn't talk about the old stuff? Well, we want the old AM1 back."
Now, because you already know what it is. The whole time, I could get into the nigga shit. I can get into the fuckery. I can get into, roasting, clowning, whatever. I could talk all the shit, be sarcastic about it. But at this point, my life is just in such a good place. I don't have the energy for a lot of it. And
Right.
it's like, I want to be of value and just be like, man, let's get it. Any shit talking you hear from me is going to be kind of like giving grace, but like, man, we got to figure this shit out. I don't want to hear no complaining. If you got complaints, figure it all out. So yeah, no, it's just only positive moving forward. I have a business model built around the idea of it. I literally just invested. I'm changing my life, moving it in the direction of personal training, online nutrition coaching, and tying it in with my ability to produce media content like I have done for the greater part of a decade. So we're talking whole new business model, whole new levels of life changing, trying to add value, take a page out of my book. I hope it works. So I made a whole new channel, AM1 Lifestyle, AM1 Lifestyle. And then I took my old channel that people know me from, the Black Manosphere algorithm, rebranded that, took most of that old content, and just took some of the gems that I had already been dropping the whole time and just distilled it down and just left out some of the other stuff, not even making it black focused.
Mhm.
Although I want black folks to figure it out for sure.
Mhm.
But everything that I'm describing is bigger than that. It's like eat right, get your mind right, watch the content you consume. So stand true to that. I can't sit here and talk to y'all about women, what the B dub is doing. Get in the gym, get your diet right. Don't let these politics play games with you. Don't let these politicians play race games with you. Election year, selection year, they're gonna play games with you. Be ready for that. And the best way to be ready for that is to look at what you put in your eyes, your ears, and your mouth and move your body.
And those are bars. Before I let you go, when's the ebook coming out?
Man, I was actually trying to get that finished today. I
Okay.
give myself realistically 2 weeks, but I should have an ebook, a free ebook on the new site this week. But everybody go subscribe to AM1 Lifestyle, the new channel. I want to see that sub number go up when I refresh it, and then you guys will definitely know about all the updates on the coaching as I get into the personal training, nutrition coaching, and when I have ebooks and other things available from the site. And just support the content, man. It's all about positivity and moving forward and just taking all the information I'm getting and just distilling it down for you guys. Let's all just get healthy. That's it.
That's my man AM1 from the golden era. Thank you, bro, for coming through as always.
Man, Sly, you already know you that guy. Like from the golden era, you keeping it lit,
We
staying
forgot.
diverse with the topics. I hit my guy up. Let me come through.
Yeah,
He's
it's
like, you already
nothing.
know.
Oh,
You
hey,
know I
man.
appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, me casa, su casa, brethren. Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, my brother.
Brother,
I'm gonna
bro.
let you get up out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day, bro.
For sure, bro.
Peace. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed all the gems and the pearls that AM1 has laced before us today. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta go to the gym because I haven't been to the gym all day. This is my 2 hours to myself that I get to work on myself. So that's where I'll be. Y'all have a good one. Peace.